Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 21 of my knitting podcast. My name is Marlene and I'm a knitter from Germany, specifically from Marburg, which is pretty much in the middle of Germany, I'd say. But yeah, geographics are not my thing. My thing is fibers, wool, knitting, trying to get more into other fiber crafts too, spinning, sewing, we'll see. But today is just a regular episode. I'm trying to stay in my bi-weekly kind of schedule. It's not, I don't have a specific upload date because that would be just a tiny bit too stressful for me if I don't make it. But yeah, today's episode 21 and I'm here to show you two finished objects, a couple of works in progress, two brand new and wonderful test knits. I'm also, I've got like two skeins of Yarny acquisition. Yeah, I mean, one of the test knits is knit with an acquisition yarn. Sometimes that just all like overlaps, but I'll still show you. And then also what? Oh yeah, I'm flying to Copenhagen tomorrow with my friend Emma, and so I'll probably be uploading today's Tuesday. I have a couple days of work before going back to my old work at the university for about a week at the end of this month, before then moving on to my next chapter. But yeah, so you'll probably see this while I'm in Copenhagen, and I'm really hoping to be able to film a bit of the stuff that we'll get up to. We have such a long list of yarn jobs. Obviously, I'm very happy that my friend Emma and I were really aligned on the things that are important to us while traveling. We want to go to all the cafes, we want to eat all the pastries, we want to squish all the yarn, we want to see all the beautiful buildings, architecture, parks, cemeteries, the sea. We want to go on a boat ride, we want to maybe rent a bike. Yeah, we're really aligned and I'm very much looking forward to that. We're also going to knit. And yeah, so that's what's coming up. I hope to be publishing a video on that experience maybe in the upcoming week. But like I said, I'm also still working in my old job and kind of trying to take more time for YouTube as well. So we'll see how that goes. But without further ado, let me show you what I'm wearing, and which is also one of my two finished objects. This is the Corran cardigan by the Creabea, Rebecca Clow. It is a lace cardigan. This is my first lace project that I've done. It's a long sleeved, kind of like a very deep, kind of like orangey red color. It is knit up in Mota, which is a yarn base by Wooldreamers. It's kind of a rustic yarn. I would say I'm quite happy to have this as a cardigan, but I don't know if I would want it as it's just like a sweater on its own. I think it would be quite rustic. I can get up and show you some of what it's looking like. It is quite small. I picked size 3. Like I said, I always link my bust circumference in the description box, but also I don't mind talking about it. I usually knit size 4, but like not all patterns are graded equally, and so I sometimes have to go up or down a size depending on where sizing starts, where it ends, how I want the pattern to fit my body. And so with this pattern, I think the designer suggested a positive ease of about 2 to 10 centimeters. And I said that the last time, I generally go for a bit more of positive ease. Around 10 to 20 centimeters is kind of like my sweet spot, I would say. And so with this obviously, as you can see, it is quite inspired by Rebecca's long sleeve round neck version 2. I can put in a picture here. I love how I always scooch to the side to put in, there's plenty of space, but I'll put in a picture of one of her, I think like first sample that inspired this make 2. And it didn't look like she had a lot of positive ease. And sometimes, I mean, you see a body and you think like, oh, that looks similar to my body. And so when I think she said she knitted size 3, maybe she did knit size 4, I don't know. I was like, okay, maybe let's try something new. Let's try a bit less positive ease. Size 3 has about 3 centimeters of positive ease, depending on the situation, the time of the month, all of that. But I have a bust of around 100 centimeters. And so this would have given me 3 centimeters of positive ease, which would have fallen into that kind of like bracket that she suggested. And so I did that. In hindsight, maybe I should have gone for size 4, just because I'm used to a bit more positive ease. It is quite tight. It's not uncomfortably tight, but as you can see, I could be, let me actually do it up. I could do it up, but I don't think I would. And that's how she was wearing it, and how I was actually thinking I might wear it too, more of like a sweater, like a pullover with buttons. But it looks like it might open up in a way. I'm not sure if you can see that. So I'm not sure if I would want to wear it like this, or I feel a bit constrained in it. This is also a part where I feel like it's quite tight. Even though, so some of the adjustments I made to the pattern is I chose to put in a couple more stitches for a bigger biceps. That was a suggested thing that you could do in the pattern. But like I said, this is more, maybe that's like the 10 centimeters that I prefer, or like my bust pushes the thing open. I don't know. So I did a couple more stitches on the arms, which was also suggested in the pattern. If you do feel like you have bigger arms, like I don't know if I have bigger arms, but I felt like I would like that. I also didn't do any decreases in the sleeve. That was partly due to my not knowing how to. I tried it a couple of times. It was actually not as easy as I had hoped to learn doing this kind of, I guess with lace, you really can't lose or gain any stitches. You have to have the exact same amount of stitches all the time. And maybe I'm just a bit of like a, I don't know, laissez-faire knitter. A lot of the times I'm like 1 or 2 stitches more or less. It doesn't change the whole thing in and of itself. I'm quite laid back, I would say, in that regard. So I've been realizing when knitting patterns, like I'll show you another pattern that's in Irish moss stitch in a couple of minutes, or another pattern that's in a ribbing pattern, or like this, a lace. You really can't gain or lose any stitches. I don't know how you would, but like, you know what I'm trying to say, especially with yarn overs. You can like, a yarn over could fall down from your needles so easily. You could mess up the knit 2 together or whatever. So lace has proven itself to be a bit more time consuming while learning. I put this away a couple of times. I think I started this in like April and now it's September. But it was also one of those projects that I knew I wanted to make, but I wasn't desperate to wear. Also because I wasn't sure how I would. Now, while wearing it with kind of like a long sleeve, just t-shirt, or I did also wear it a couple of, like last week with the dress, I really liked it. Also because it was quite warm, but also kind of breezy because of the lace, obviously. So yeah, that happened. Also, another thing I realized is that you can see the distance between the buttons. I always have a, so I'm filming with my camera on a tripod, and then I have a a mirror behind it so I can see what I'm doing, because I'm using the front facing camera. So if I look over there, I'm just trying to see if I'm actually showing you what I'm trying to show you. So I hope you don't mind. So these are all distance equally, like they're the same distance, but those two, they're not. And so I'm not sure what went wrong there. I actually looked at a lot of people's project pictures and I realized that a couple of other people had made that same mistake, or maybe it's not even a mistake. I think on Rebecca's pattern pictures, it looks like they're very evenly distributed. But as you're knitting these bands and the buttonholes in these bands before you're knitting this, I think with like calculating where they should go, I just didn't think about these added about like 4 centimeters that I would get from this. So I'm not really sure what went wrong, but also at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal for me, because I feel like some jackets, they have some buttons that are closer together up here. And yeah, you live and you learn. I won't be making that same mistake twice, I don't think. But like I said, I also don't think it's a big deal. So yeah, I really love the color. If you saw on my Instagram stories, I do have a crush on rusty, orangey, deep red, brownie colors. I mean, it's not a new thing for me, and it's a thing a lot of people love, I know that, but just recently I've realized, looking at my projects, maybe there's a sneak peek of another thing. It's just something I really enjoy, and I don't know, I think it kind of suits me too. So yeah. Oh, another thing that I did was I adjusted the buttonholes a bit to make them a bit bigger. I put those adjustments into my Ravelry page because I wanted to use these petite knit buttons, and they were about, I don't know, like 2 or 3 millimeters bigger than the pattern suggested. So yeah, that was another modification, but other than that, I pretty much followed the pattern. The next, I hope I've said everything about this, but I think I did. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. And like always, I've got all the things that I'm mentioning, at least I'm trying to, always in the description box down below. So if you click more or see more right off, like below the video, you can also click like right there if you did enjoy listening and watching this video at the end of it, if you would like to. And I'm also always linking my Ravelry projects there. So if you want to compare sizes or read my modifications again, if you're just knitting this, or if you're planning on knitting this too, you can do so on my Ravelry page, which is always linked. So finished object number 2 is my Mount Everest project, I called it. It's the finished Marco Polo by the Creabea. Look at this. It's so perfect. So I'm actually thinking about switching what I'm wearing just for a quick second, because I really want to show you how this sits on my body. And since I did have 2 finished objects today, I didn't know how I could, but like, I don't mind. I just have like this long sleeve underneath. I don't mind it poking out. So this is finished. All the ends are woven in. It's blocked and everything. I steam blocked it again after blocking it for the first time. I'll go into that in a minute. But there's one finishing step that I'll still have to do. But I wasn't sure if I had to, so I was waiting for it to be blocked before doing it. So this is the Marco Polo by the Creabea. I probably wouldn't wear it with this thing underneath, but just like for the sake of showing you guys today, this is what it looks like. I'll get up for a second. It is a bit more cropped then the designer suggested it to knit it. It has this split hem. You'll see here on this side is where I'm planning on putting in an elastic too, because this is poking up a bit on the side. This is probably due to the double knitting. Let me scoot in again. Yeah, so like I said, I probably wouldn't wear it like that, but also it doesn't really matter. This is a 2.5 millimeter needle project. I've used my Chiaogoo Needles for it. I've been switching over to use Chiaogoo more and more and more, even with sizes 3 millimeters plus, like up. And I will be reporting on that shortly too, because I love it. And yeah, those double knitting highlights or like finishings on the project were knitted with size 2 millimeter needles. I'm so happy I got gauge with 2.5, because I was like imagining if I didn't, or if people wouldn't, they would have to size down even more and knit the double knitting maybe on like a 1.5 millimeter needles. I don't even know if that exists. It has to, right? Yeah, I've never used them, so I don't know. It is made with the Unling Everyday Kit, which contains the Unling number 12 and Unling number 13. I think I've said this the last time. There is cotton, wool, cashmere, and lamb's wool in that. These were 2 strands. I've got like small little cones. I've got the yarn with a slight discount for the test knit, but I paid most of it myself, and I was happy to. I think the leftovers I'd be able to use for, I don't know, penny gloves or stuff like that. Maybe accessories, maybe stuff for the Christmas tree, stuff like that. But yeah, so the kit was enough yarn. I really like the feel of it. The tiny stitches give this such a professional and like polished and like clean lines look. Like I said, I will probably have to put in an elastic on the sleeve, but that's everything. Like I feel like so 2 modifications that I did. I knitted the collar I maybe 1 or 2 centimeters shorter. Now I'm not sure if I should have just gone for the long size, but I was really afraid of like a huge collar. I don't know why, but that kind of didn't feel like something I would want to wear. And then I cropped it. I don't know if at the end of the day that was a decision of like just wanting to be finished, because I knitted on this for like 3-4 months. And it was a labor of love. Or I'm actually quite happy with the length. Like I don't want to be like, oh, it's not too cropped. It's not how cropped is too cropped, okay? But it's definitely more cropped than the designer suggested. But like I said, I think I can still put it into my, this is like mid-waist. I have jeans that are higher up, so I can still put it in like that. Okay, I'm gonna take it off because it feels quite silly to have it over something long sleeve. But yeah, this is the Marco Polo. Woo, it's done. Oh, my friends have been, whenever I told them about this, they were like, wow, you're doing that to yourself. But honestly, I was so happy to like, I mean, I wasn't the whole time throughout it, and I know I've moaned about it here, but like having this in my wardrobe is like, I'm never going to regret making it ever. It's a staple. I could wear it to like very formal events. I think it's a beautiful, very elegant, neutral color that you could pair with like basically anything. I mean, I don't wear skirts really, but you could wear like a long floaty like pink or green skirt with it, or you could make it black and like wear it to very formal stuff to like the office or stuff like that. So yeah, probably don't come to me for I don't know, styling advice. Although I would love to make like a how I wear my knits video in autumn and in winter and maybe even spring and summer, but like I would love to make videos like that because honestly, even though I'm not like, oh, I've got such great style about myself, like I enjoy my style. And I think knits can be very practical and beautiful at the same time. So yeah, I would love to do that. Feel free to let me know if you would like to see that or if you're like, oh, maybe I'll take some styling advice from other people, not from you. Oh my God, I've actually finished another thing. Should I get them? No. Okay, I finished a pair of socks, but I've already put them in my suitcase. And I've got a pretty good picture of them right here. So I think that should be fine. These are my vanilla striped Bellini socks, I'll call them. I used the Bellini sock set by Beehive Yarns to make them. At the end of the day, I really like them. I told you guys about my dilemma about not liking a very short kind of like leg cuff on a sock, and then I felt like there was a lot going on with like all the two contrast colors. One of them was like champagne white, so don't ask me for very colorful advice, but like the whole sock was already pink speckled. And so yeah, at the end of the day, I love them. My mother-in-law to be, she saw them and she was like, oh, I love them. And I'm like, now I've already finished one sock, like they won't fit her, they're too big. I've already made socks for her for Christmas, which are great. Like she was like looking at the pink ones going like, oh, they're so nice. I'm like, will she enjoy her gray ones? I'm not sure. But yeah, these were my 3 finished objects. I totally forgot about the socks. But yeah, I showed you the first sock quite closely, and I just finished up the last one within the last couple of days. Quick note about sock blocking. I've got these sock blockers. I'll actually show them to you. If there's one thing on here and on my Instagram that I get, if there's 2 things that I get questions about all the time, it's my glasses and my sock blockers. Okay, so quickly, my glasses are from Ace and Tate. They're the Pierce Large and Fizz. Yeah, just to mention, I love them. It's actually the second time that I bought them because they broke on a trip to London, and I got them again. Got my subscription renewed. But yeah, the sock blockers that I have, they're these ones. I only got 1 per size. Actually, just recently recommended them to a friend, and she was like, oh, but you only have 1 per size. How do you do that? And I'm like, I only finish 1 sock at a time. So then I'll take the sock, soak it, wash it, squeeze out the water, maybe like wrap it in a towel, step on it with socks. It's not a big deal. And then I put them on here. And if it's the summer or like spring or autumn, like now, I'll put them outside for like a day. Either there's sun and they will dry within that day, or there's a lot of wind and they will dry within that day. This is really thin wood. I've never had anything happen to them. Like I said, this is the size that I use most because this is my foot size, and they still look like all the other ones. It's thin wood, but nothing. They're not really affected by the moisture. And if it's the winter, I'll just put them on the radiator and they'll be dry within that day too. So yeah, that's how I block my socks after finishing them 1 time. After that, I just wash them, squeeze out the water, and put them over the radiator or the outside, like just lay them flat to dry. I don't re-block them again after blocking them for the first time. And since like I said, I only finish 1 sock at a time, I wash it and then I put it on the blockers. I try to reuse the water, so sometimes I use it to wash other stuff or to block some swatches, but like honestly, I've got a couple of wool washes and I just put in like this much water into our tap and like a dollop of the wool wash, so I don't think it's too, I don't use too much of it, just to block this the sock. Okay, moving on to my first test knit that I was accepted to. I was so happy to be accepted for it. This is by Rebecca Clow, again, the Creabea, and it's funny to see how she, for some reason, I connect her with this awesome shade of red, because I'm knitting the stick season sweater in another beautiful red color, and this is my progress that I'm very happy with. This is kind of the progress I made since the last time I showed you guys. This is my progress marker by Hello Lavender that I got at the Flock Fiber Festival. A couple of adjustments that I have made so far. The collar is about 2 centimeters shorter or less narrow than what she suggests in the pattern. She said that kind of modifications like that would be okay if we'll tell her about it, but otherwise I started knitting a size 4, then realized I should go up to a size 5, again with like positive ease. I love these kind of like details, seaming details that you don't actually have to seam anything. The yarn I'm using is another Flock purchase. I'm so happy that I'm already like knitting with the stuff that I got, because some things I know I'll only get to next summer, but yeah, I'm so happy to be knitting this with this. This is Exploring This in Fibers, Rocky's Decay and Daybreak. I made a list of like colors I would love to try from them, and then wanted to see what they actually brought to Flock. I think at the end of the day, like, we should have probably gone on Friday already, because some of the stuff I didn't get to get. For example, one of the Seattle colorways, which is like a really dark green. Actually, the person in front of me in the line, she got the last skeins. So, but I'm so happy I got this, and I actually got it with I got 4 skeins of the red and 1 skein of linen, which is kind of like a grayish, beigey white. And I wanted to make a Kerr sweater, also by the Creabea. But like, honestly, I don't know why I didn't think about it, but like a sweater like that, which has like a colorwork motif, it should be, in my opinion, and for my own making process, I think if I ever do it, which honestly I might, but like, I would want to go with a more rustic yarn, something more toothy, something that's not super washed, which the DK, Rocky's DK is, just to like get for it to fill out the gaps, like it blooms more than a super washed yarn. And so yeah, I'm so happy I made the adjustment to use it for this test knit, and I'm so happy I got in. So far it's been such an enjoyable knit, such an enjoyable testing period. Very potato chippy because of the repeat. It's not too difficult, but the details still look really elevated for it. Next up, I've used 2 skeins of yarn, so tell me if you think that I'll be fine. Each of the skeins is something that you could see for yourselves, but if you're getting hand-dyed yarn, oftentimes the skeins aren't 100 grams. I've recently been weighing all my hand-dyed skeins, and they're usually between 110 and 115, which with this, I had to cut out 2 or 3 kind of like pieces where the yarn was put together again within a skein, which makes sense that happened, but that part didn't take the dye as dark as it was. It was more of like a light red. Oh, you can actually see here, or I don't know if you can. And if that happens, I knit up to, oh, there's a hair. That's lovely. My hair is everywhere. Whenever I knit, I sometimes even knit it in to the thing. When that happens, I leave like a tail. I hold the tail it's like joining another piece of yarn, and then I sew in the ends at the end of the day. I don't mind if that happens like once or twice per skein. If it's more like that, I don't think that's great. But like I said, it hasn't happened more than once or twice per skein. But with that, I mean, you're losing like 10, 15 centimeters, maybe 20 centimeters of yarn, which is not comparable to like 10, 15 grams more that you get. So at the end of the day, I think you get more for your money, which is nice. Which means I have gotten 4 skeins of about 110 grams each. And I was talking to Rebecca about it before testing. She's like, oh yeah, I think I'm also using 4 skeins. And she made that. She got away with it. Let's say it like that. Yeah. So I'll be starting on one of the sleeves, weighing how much yarn I need for it, making it kind of on the short side, and then these details on both sides, they will kind of like bloom and like open up too, because there's like a pearl ridge. And so I'll probably make the sleeves maybe like that even, and then block it to that length. I'm sure I'll be able to at least get like 2-3 centimeters in the sleeves, at least, if I block them. And so maybe I won't even cast off the sleeve, but like see and calculate how much I'll need for the sleeve, then continue on the body, or even finish both of the sleeves and then finish the body. But like, I'm hopeful that I'll be able to make do with 2 more skeins, because like the body will need, I could do it quite cropped, I don't mind. The collar is all finished, it's all finished except for sleeves, and I don't know, like 20 centimeters of body. And honestly, if the sleeves are a bit short, if the body's a bit cropped, I have what I have. Like, I can't get any more of that yarn. I mean, I could see on Ravelry, but like, you know what I'm trying to say. I'm not interchanging skeins. Like, I don't know if you could tell. I'm not doing that, and I don't think you're able to tell. So yeah, I think that's everything about that project. I'll leave it here. Like, I won't be taking it to Copenhagen just because it's already at quite a big point, and I will have to do some shaping for the sleeves. And so I think it would be best to keep it at home and work on it some more when I'm back. I still have about, I think when I come back from my trip to Copenhagen, I have about 5 weeks, and that'll be more than enough. I think I'll be able to finish it within 2 weeks. And that's me taking it kind of slow, depending on how much I work on my second test knit, which is in my favorite project bag of all times. This is so cute. This by Knitting Nelly. I'll link her Instagram in the description down below. She does shop updates once in a while. I think she's just done something Halloween related, if that's your kind of stuff, I would say. And yeah, let me show you what kind of yarn I'm using. This is one of my yarn acquisitions too. This has just arrived at the post, and it's making me so happy. Sorry to be super emotional about this, but this is the Very Cozy Sock and Flock. I can feel another very great thumbnail energy coming in again. So yeah, this is the Very Cozy Sock, which is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. Again, when I was ordering this, I wasn't sure what to make with it. I was actually planning on making a shawl, but then I'd already ordered it. I was like, either I'm holding 2 double and making like a top or like a camisole, and then making another sock, or making a hat, or make like a muscle bra. I don't know. I was like, I don't know what to make with it, but I know I want it, and it was kind of like a pre-order thing. And then the Kalani blouse came up on my radar. I mean, I've had it on my radar since Pasley Knits. I had been starting to talk about it, but then I wasn't sure when she was actually going to like put it out into the world for testing. But then she did, and I had ordered that yarn. I was like, how many skeins would I need for like a blouse, yardage wise? And then something clicked. And then the test call went live, and I was like, Kalani blouse by Pasley Knits, flock colorway by Woolberry. It's a match made in heaven. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to do that. And also, I've got these Surrey and mohair cones from Woolly Yarns. I think there is kind of like I think it's an Italian brand. I've got them maybe last year or a couple of months ago, so I still had this. And so I swatched. Let me show you the swatch first. Oh yeah. This tiny swatch was my first stick season sweater swatch. I don't know what's happening right now, guys, but like I need to go up needle sizes, and this has never happened before. But apparently now I'm quite a tight knitter. This is my second swatch. This is the Kalani blouse. Let me just show them to you like that. Yeah. So yeah, you can see the Irish moss stitch. This is my first Irish moss stitch pattern. And after swatching, I actually caked up this thing into a little cake, because I was like, this is not very portable, but this is. And so obviously I had to cake up my yarn too. I'll show you like a little close-up. It's so gorgeous. I love it. And yeah, so this is what I got. I have it in my gorgeous knitting bag, and this is also my project that I'm taking away with me to Copenhagen. And I'll show you first, and then I'll tell you about how I had to restart this project like 3 times and like frocked twice. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, it's so cute. It'll go like this. Obviously, it has a V-neck. If you've seen my autumn knitting plans video, you'll see you will have seen a picture of Collie's version, which is a beautiful like light pink version. But yeah, this is my version, and I'm in love with it. I've just, while packing for Copenhagen, I was like, I don't have enough lightweight long sleeve knits, and so kind of like a cumulus blouse style knit or something, just fingering weight, or like a open gauge DK weight. It's just perfect for me. I really hope my gauge is right now with going up a needle size. I'm actually using the Chiaogoo bamboo. This is my first project that I'm using them on. Like I said, I've been using Chiaogoo more and more and more in my making process. But more the metal ones. I'm actually using the metal ones for my stick season too. But with this, I thought a bit of grip would be nice, because I have like a very tiny, very fluffy yarn. Oh guys, I feel like I got to, I'm sorry, like I would love to keep this on, but I've been so hot recently. Like I don't know why, but I'm getting so hot so easily. Maybe it's also the, do you say agitation, like from talking to you and being like moving around, showing you guys. But yeah, let me tell you about starting this project. So first time I started, I didn't read the instructions well enough. I must have been getting on my fellow testers' nerves, like there is no tomorrow. I was asking, it's not like me to not read close enough before asking someone a question. Like I'm so happy to be helping you if you've got a question, but I'm trying not to be too much work in a testing group. Like, yeah, I'm trying not to make it difficult for anyone else. Obviously, I think everyone is, but like, yeah, I didn't read it close enough. And I had to frog. I was always doing like that much maybe, and then frog, and then and now I'm here. Okay. The second time around, I did read close enough. Some people helped me in the group, Instagram group. But then I knitted beyond a point of exhaustion and tiredness one night, that I, for some reason, repeated some rows that I'd already knitted, which meant that my pattern wasn't lining up. And then I was like, why is the pattern not lining up? Like, I was not suggesting that there is something wrong with the pattern, but I was like, can someone help me? And they're like, should be good because of that and that. It's like, yeah, it makes sense for me. Like, they're actually really nice and trying to help me. And then the next morning I was like, never mind, guys. That was just me not being able to read and not putting down my stuff when I'm too tired to knit. So in hindsight and with a bit of self-reflection, I was like, okay, you got to work on that when you're like well hydrated, awake, and like reading the thing from start to finish and then starting it. Well, let me tell you, it worked wonders doing it that way. And I'm so glad I did. I was like very apologetic about being such a dum-dum in the group too. And they're like, you're good. Coley was like, I'm just really happy that it's working out now for you. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen again, I swear. I'm just trying to be a good tester. And also I really, really love this. Like, the texture is amazing. And also the color, I think it's beautiful. I think it has just the right amount of warm and cold tones and like neutral, and the dark red is like honestly what kills me. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. I have this color has like a chokehold on me, and it's even more, there's even more depth in this than there is in the other red tones I've been using. This is more, it's even like an ox blood red in a way. So yeah, I really enjoy this project. I'm happy to be taking it along on my trip. And yeah, let me tell you about my third kind of new cast on, then tell you about, oh no, there's another fourth new cast on, and there's some older projects. This is my sweet shop blanket. It's my first for squares. This is the back side. I'm using a technique by Pink Knits or something. She's a, I would say, OG tutorial maker on YouTube. I'll link her tutorial down below because I think it's super helpful. It's for knitting in ends in garter. And I mean, obviously you can tell where I snipped it, and this is not perfect by any means, but I think it's quite, it won't be a big, huge deal to see the backside once in a while if I have it laying over my couch. The size that it is now and the size that it'll probably be within the next, I don't know, months, it's still small enough to put it on the wall too. I'm thinking about, actually maybe I'll put in a picture. I would want to make it at least double the size, and then maybe add some, like add 2 here, another one here, and then 2 here, so it's just a bit bigger. And then I'm thinking if I would want to have it as like a wall hanging too, or like do 2, like make a blanket but also wall hanging, just because of my obsession with quilts. We've talked about it. I love kind of like textured wall hangings, not just, I mean, I love picture frames too, but like something made out of fabric. There's this one woman on Instagram, she does such, I think she's in Vancouver or somewhere in Canada, and I think she does the most amazing homemade quilts, and I love everything she does, and I would love to have something from her one day, or be able to at least make something that looks similar. And so yeah, I've really been enjoying making this. Like I said, I've tried to make one square before, and now I've made 4 more, but they are connected. I think it is a really good pattern, and to all the haters, I don't think there's a lot of haters, but like, it's a pattern by Laura Penrose, and she's posted one person being really naggy and like negative about her making a Gaza square kind of like blanket, which yeah, if you hear Gaza blanket, you're like, oh well, that's not revolutionary. But like, telling someone how to join these and like how to make it so that this is like a very, very good line, and like it's not too, I mean, if there's a dip, it's like my technique and not her pattern. But like, and it wasn't a super expensive pattern too, and like, it's her job, and she put it into writing clearly. It's her thought process. Yes, there is similar and maybe even free patterns, but she's tried them, she's tested them, and she didn't think that they were intuitive or like working for her well enough. I was really happy to pay for this pattern and to support her work. And I think it's, yeah, that's not a point where I would say that criticizing that is really, I don't know, clever, or like, I don't think that that is the place. I mean, yeah, whatever. I think there's enough space in the knitting community world for a lot of people to create and make their stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I was really happy to get that pattern and to start make it. I told you guys in my autumn knitting plans, which was my last video, I'll link it up here, and you can watch it either after watching this, or maybe you've already watched it, or you can skip it too, obviously. But yeah, I told you guys about wanting to make this rectangular big blanket. I don't know if I've said that actually. Yeah, I want to make it for our bed to be as like a drape on the foot part of the bed for now. And then I have my Cozy Comfort throw, which will be the throw for our living room, which I'm currently in. So I don't know if I've said everything about this, maybe just a bit about the shades. This is both Olivia and Oliver fibers. This is pumpkin spice, and this is hot cocoa, both in the DK, superwash DK. This is a fingering weight held double. This is, as far as I remember, a mini from Sorella. Don't know the shade, but it's like a, yeah, brownie, reddish brown one, kind of like fox rust. And then this is Antique Rose in Merino DK from Olivia and Oliver Fibers. And I've got even more colors to go into it. These are the colors that I'm thinking about joining so far. I hope you can see that. But I also possibly getting maybe a couple of minis in Copenhagen, or maybe getting some full skeins and, maybe getting some full skeins and sharing them with my friends. And I'm also doing the advent calendars, and so I'll be getting a couple more 10-gram minis to put into this blanket, and I really love it. I don't know how many times again I can hold it up like this, but yeah, like I said, the tension, it's not perfect, but I'll add to it. And I'm thinking about doing some sort of wall hanging situation with fiber one day. So far I've just put it on the wall for now, just taking a picture of it, looking at how it's looking. But yeah, I want it as a blanket first and foremost. The next cast on is just a cuff of a sock, but it is a twisted rib cuff, so it took some time to make. This is the beginning of a pedal drop sock handmade by Florence, who's Florence Miller. I've just set this up so I could start on the I wanted to say color work, but that's not right. I wanted to start on the lace whenever I'm back I always like to have a sock on the needles, but I can tell that this is going to be a more long-term project just because it's a lace sock. And so yeah, this is going to be the Petal Drop socks. This is Olivia and Oliver sock yarn in cotton. And I'm happy I started it, but I need to take a moment, maybe whenever I've got another project, a bit more progress on my test knits, maybe, or one of the test knits finished, so I can also concentrate on this. Excuse me, I was thinking about maybe if I'm doing the Irish moss stitch, maybe not to do something, another pattern that's textured at the same time, just not to, because my brain is, if I have some stockinette and then some texture, that's fine. But like 2 different textures at the same time, especially if I'm knitting at night where I'm like a bit more tired or the lighting's not very great, maybe that's not the best idea. And so yeah, but I'll be making them eventually. My next older work in progress, I don't know if I've actually made any progress since showing you last, but I'm still going to show you. This is my boyfriend's Northland sweater. I'm making this with Drops Alaska in a beautiful, kind of like a mottled brownish gray color. The last progress I made was from this stitch marker to here about 2 weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, I'm not sure, when seeing the Oppenheimer movie. We had like a, and that's, I mean, maybe 10 centimeters. I'm not sure at guessing centimeter counts. That was like a very long movie. My arms were starting to hurt. And yeah, I didn't see it before because like honestly I didn't have the time. And then we had kind of like a cinema or movie theater weekend and all tickets were just €5. That was the second to last work in progress, I guess. I'm not showing you the comfort throw. I'm just going to do that every now and again. I'm putting in scraps basically. But the one thing I wanted to show you again was how I ripped back quite a lot. I don't know if you can see all of this like wrapped around the middle. I picked up the stitches, tried, and with like a very tiny needle. I think this is like a 2mm needle. Yeah. To save them, and then I'm going to put in the 3mm needle again. I just had to rip back because I made a mistake, and so there's no progress on this. It's just ramen noodle yarn, but I wanted to still show you. This is not going anywhere. It just like 20 centimeters of progress I had to rip back because I made a mistake, and like I didn't want it to look like that. But like I'm so happy if that's going to be finished. It's going to be such a gorgeous scarf. Yay. So yeah, I'll have to put back the needle back in, and then sometime this year I want to finish it. I'm gonna tell you guys now because this will help me keep accountable, but also since making that mistake on it, I feel like a bit anxious of making another mistake. So I'm like, oh, what should I do? So yeah, I think that's it. Let me check my notes, my template. Oh yeah, I've got another 2 skeins of stash enhancement. So the second to last thing that I wanted to show you guys is my Pasley Knits order. She recently had an in-stash update, and I got these 2 skeins of yarn. This is Athena, and this is Hera from her Greek gods collection. So Hera and Athena are 2 goddesses. I don't know if you're goddesses. Yeah, from Greek mythology. And when she had first put out this collection, I fell in love with these two colors, and I'm looking forward to make socks with these. I'm seeing some really easy 3x1 or like 2x2 ribbing socks, maybe like a 3x1 and a 2x2 ribbing. I just think they will be such great socks. But yeah, I've already shared with you guys my very extensive sock knitting plans, but I'm really happy to have gotten these. Shipping and customs to Germany were okay. Obviously, it depends on how much you're willing to spend on hand-dyed yarn. It was expensive, obviously, it's hand-dyed yarn, but like for me, getting my first skeins of Pasley Knits yarn, it was worth it. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is my Chiaogoo Needles. I just wanted to show you, this is my Petite Knit to-go case. It's not ideal as it doesn't really have a lot of these like singular knitting needle cases, but I've got my fixed circular, what are these, C-knits? Yeah, I just have one pair of fixed circulars and they're in my sock from the Chiaogoo, and otherwise I have these like the needles and then some of the cords. Most of my cords are in my project at the moment, but I've really stocked up on the needles. I've only had like 3 sizes for socks, and now I've gotten more and more of them, and I've even gotten some of the bamboo ones, which I just wanted to recommend them. I think Chiaogoo Needles are really, really up there with one of the best, with some of the best. I really enjoy them. If you're ever considering buying needles for yourself, I've never bought a set, like a needle set. I don't think they're really worth it, just my opinion, for myself, because I don't use a lot of sizes a lot, but I use some sizes a ton. So I'd rather have 3 size 3mm needles, and like just one pair of size 7mm, because I've never used them, but I have like one pair of them. But like sizes 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, those are all millimeters. So I don't know, like EU, German, we use them. We don't use the US sizes. They completely and utterly confuse me. But yeah, these are the sizes for which I would love to have, or for which I do have, like starting from 2.5 to like maybe 5. I have multiple of, and then sizes beneath that and beyond that, I just have maybe 1, or even I don't even have a pair of needles, and I would get them if I ever needed them for a specific project. So yeah, I'm slowly and surely getting these needles to kind of make myself my own set, and I love that. So yeah, just a quick episode to get back into the rhythm of like a bi-weekly thing. Like I said, if you're seeing this, I'm currently traveling. I'll be back. If you're seeing that, maybe I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know. And I'll be trying to get to you a Copenhagen vlog. Let's cross my fingers I can actually give you that, because like, yeah, I don't want to overwhelm myself too much. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'm Marlene Knits there too. I'll be posting videos, maybe reels, but pictures of our trip mainly. I think that's pretty much it. I am so thankful for you guys being here. So, I don't know, enthusiastically, positively. I really enjoy reading all of your comments. If you want to let me know what you worked on while you were watching this video, I'd be happy to read it and reply and maybe get inspired by you guys. I always love to read what you're just currently working on, because I learn about so many patterns or designers that I've never heard about before. So I always love that. I hope you enjoyed all the things that I was able to show you today. And yeah, I'm happy to catch you again in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I hope you're staying well, and I hope you're taking care of yourselves, and I hope you get a lot of knitting done. Bye.